What a great way to kick off the Little Rock Touchdown Club season. And are you glad football's almost started, everybody? Somebody has left this. Let's see if there's any money in it. Let's see. There is money in it. Okay. There is money in this. Come find me later. It is great to have you here. I told Coach Bielema this is the 10th anniversary. Hard to believe, the 10th anniversary of this club. We started with 17 guys in a small little room over at the Hilton and become one of the fastest growing clubs in America. And I'm going to do my best, Coach Bielema, today. He's a fast talker when he's up there doing his press conference. So, Coach, I'm going to do my best fast talking today. I'm sort of that way anyway. First of all, just know that this is not what we're structured for to have. We tried to accommodate as many people as we could, probably more than we should have. And I know we had a new website that was launched, and there might have been some glitches. So just bear with us. We know we want to get as many of you in here as possible each week, and hopefully we'll get these things worked out, and it'll be great from the rest of the season. I did want to mention the fight songs that you heard. If you're wondering why you might have heard the USC fight song or the Nebraska fight song, those are the fight songs of all of our guests that are coming to speak this year. So we just thought it'd be nice to hear throughout the year some of the other fight songs. So we've done that the last 2 or 3 years. Do want to thank Ann Jansen for her time on the mic up here trying to rustle everybody in. And for all of you, let's give her a round of applause. Ann Jansen, everybody. Now, we will be back at the Embassy Suites next week, and I'll talk about who we'll have coming up at the Embassy Suites next week in just a moment. But as we always do, we want to start with a word of prayer, and our official pastor of the Little Rock Touchdown Club, Gary Underwood. Gary, come on up.
I got a promotion, pastor, not chaplain. That's awesome. You know, wow. Isn't this something? This is absolutely amazing. Now, every one of you are going to buy a membership today before you leave, right? Need to do that. Coach, it's good to have you with us. We're glad that you're here. Understand, up in Big Ten country, sometimes teams and fan bases may pray for wins. We don't do that in the SEC. We do not pray for wins. We pray for God's will. And there are 14 different versions of that. But we're going to be excited a week from Saturday to see you lead the team out. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for the beautiful day, the opportunity to gather together and enjoy each other's company and fellowship. We ask you to protect all the players and coaches throughout this season. Lord, we just ask you to use us today in your service and bless the food that we've been served. In your name we pray, amen.
Yeah, Coach, I think this is indicative of the kind of football support here in Central Arkansas. First time we've ever been sold out a week in advance. And today's about teamwork. Coach, I'm sure we'll talk about teamwork here in a few minutes, but everybody in this room makes the Little Rock Touchdown Club what it is, makes the Downtown Rotary Club what it is, makes Central Arkansas what it is, makes War Memorial what it is. So today we're going to spend a few minutes introducing our team, Coach, if you will. And at first I'd like to introduce real quick. I'm going to run through, and I want you to stand at this time. These are the founding members that are here today from Little Rock Touchdown Club. Please stand when I call your name. Clint Albright, Bob Bomar, Wally Hall, Tommy Harkins, Bruce James, Rob James, Andrew Metters, Scott Miller, Rex Nelson, Kenny O'Connor, David Parker, and John Puron. Will you please give them a round of applause as our founding members? There are some that can't be here today, and I'd also want to introduce our new board members. We've expanded the board. If you will, please stand when I announce your name. Renata Jenkins-Byler, Ronald Davis, Judy Henry, Bill Jackson, Ann Jensen Broadwater, BJ Mack, Art Monroe, Nancy Monroe, Jim Rasco, Wes Sutton, and Gary Underwood. Would you please give them a round of applause? We will get the RSVP worked out. I want to thank Brent Birch over at Flex 360. We have a new website, gang, that really is going to help us be more efficient. But with this lineup we have this year, gang, you're going to have to RSVP. You know, that's some of the things that we haven't been able to do in years past, and this year is going to be a crowding issue. And some of you folks are maybe a little bit older that don't do the internet. We're going to work out a situation for you where we can get, because I know there's some of you here that don't want to fool with that darn internet. So we're going to take care of you, and Kelly will work out a way that we get your RSVP there. Also, today's meeting will be streamed live. So for those who couldn't be here, they'll be able to log on to lrtouchdown.com each week and see our guest speaker. So if you're on the road somewhere, so I think that's a great tool. And I do want to thank Brent Birch and his staff at Flex 60 for that work. Just make sure when you get an RSVP email, you click on RSVP. Now, a couple new things for the club this year. Jeff Long, through Kevin Trainer, reached out to me during the summer and said, David, we need some help with the National Football Foundation. And I'd heard about this, but I didn't know what it was. The National Football Foundation is an organization that votes in the College Football Hall of Fame. They also support scholar athletes. And they said, David, you know, the Razorback Foundation can't do this anymore. Would the Touchdown Club in Little Rock do this? And I said, yes. So basically, once you become a member of the National Football Foundation, Arkansas chapter, you get to vote in the College Football Hall of Fame. Coach Broyles had a brilliant idea years ago. He used to give away those memberships to anybody who would donate to the university. Well, over time, that sort of changed because Coach Broyles did it because he wanted his folks voting for Arkansas players going to the College Football Hall of Fame, which is really smart. So I told the guy in Dallas, I said, I promise you we will be the fastest growing National Football Foundation chapter in America. Would you help me do that this year? Can we do that for 25 extra bucks? That's what I hope. All you have to do, let's give a round of applause to that. I want to see us step up and remember, you're not just voting for Razorbacks. If you attended a different college, you may be voting for an Arkansas State Red Wolf to go into the Hall of Fame or UAPB. So it's only $25 extra. Coach, we are so inexpensive here. It's almost crazy. $50 for the whole year. $50 to get this lineup that you see in front of you. That's it, and then lunch. For $25 extra, you get the National Football Foundation membership, so that's $75. And to be teamwork, if you want to be an Arkansas Sports Hall of Fame member, throw in another $50 and you get the Super Sports membership for $125. And we will distribute those funds accordingly. So you can vote for the Arkansas Sports Hall of Fame, the College Football Hall of Fame, and be a member of the Touchdown Club. But as Gary said, we really need you to be a member of the Touchdown Club first and foremost. We need that $50. It's very important to us, so we hope you take advantage of that. Let's look at our lineup for the year real quick. I thought the last 2 years we'd never be able to top, but I think this year we have topped it all. Of course, we started out with Coach Bielema today. Next week, Cliff Harris will be coming in. We've named him a national award in his honor that I'll get to in just a minute, the Small College Defensive Player of the Year in honor of Cliff Harris. Just found out Gene Stallings will be coming in. Gil Brandt will be coming in. There's an outside chance that Roger Stahlback will be coming in. And so some of Cliff's friends are coming in to help support him as we launch this new national award. So I'll talk about more of that in just a minute. September 3rd, Dan Hampton. First time we've had Dan back in forever. Excited about his new award. Tom Osborne will be here on September 9th. Not easy to get Coach in, so excited about that. Jeff Long will make his annual appearance here September 16th. September 23rd, Houston Nutt. I'm sure that will be one of the more interesting. Rex, will you do any Houston Nutt imitations?
It'll be special.
It'll be special, Rex says. So I'm glad that Houston's coming back, and that will be good. That'll be a great meeting. Gene Chizik the following week, just 2 years removed from being the national championship team, leading the Auburn Tigers to a national championship. Also a former Brawls Award winner. Clint Conk, October 7th. Mitch Mustaine, there's a documentary film on him called The Identity Theft of Mitch Mustaine. It's very compelling and intriguing. I think he'll be a compelling figure to hear as well. The following week, Jonathan Weeds, October 21st, obviously a Remington Award winner, and I thought, Coach, with Travis Swanson being after the Remington Award, it'd be great to bring Jonathan back. I saw Coach Kelly here from Pulaski Academy. He's a PA product. Coach Brian Harsin, October 28th from Arkansas State. Look forward to having him. Will be the third different Arkansas State coach we've had in 3 years. Should you laugh at that? I don't know. I mean, it's a good thing, right? I don't know if you do or not. I mean, I guess it's a compliment that you're hiring the right coaches. Brian Harsin was a Brawls Award finalist here. Next, we'll have Steve Sullivan, November 4th. We'll talk about his award coming up. And then a combo, Roland Sales and Ike Forte on November 11th. Coach, these are two of the great running backs to play University of Arkansas. And then the recruiting coordinator, or recruiting writer, rather, for the Arkansas Democrat Gazette, Richard Davenport. And we're bringing in Chris Hayes from the Orlando Sentinel. He is the recruiting guy from Orlando, from South Florida. And, Coach, I know you're doing a lot of recruiting in those parts, so we'll have both those guys together. And, boy, what a finish. My old teammate, Steve Atwater, will be in the Football Hall of Fame, NFL Hall of Fame soon. He'll be coming in November 25th. And to top it off, we go to February 13th, and Lou Holtz will be making an appearance back here in Little Rock. And excited to have my old coach here, and I think that's going to be great. That award, Coach, I was telling Coach what we try to do here at this club is try to recognize other schools, all high schools and all colleges. And so that's a real special time. And speaking of awards, we've created some new ones, but I want to take a minute. Coach, look to your left over there. You'll see the Brawls Award Trophy. I hope our Touchdown Club can do what Club 99 Downtown Rotary has done for the Brawls Award. They have taken over this thing the last 10 years, And it has really been great. Sharon Vogelpool, who is the president, she's here. Jeff Hildebrand and Wanda Hoover are over here. They're our chairs for the Rules Award and do a great job. And Coach, just to give you an example, who's been to Little Rock, one of your assistants, Paul Christ, was a two-time Rules Award finalist just a couple years ago, ended up being the head coach at Pittsburgh right now. Ironically, Gary Anderson, who just took coach's place at Wisconsin, was a Rules Award finalist from Utah. You go to Chris Peterson at Boise State's been here. Gary Patterson, TCU. Charlie Strong was a three-time Rules Award finalist. Will Muschamp, head coach at Florida, has been here. Jimbo Fisher, FSU. And Gus Malzahn, Auburn, was a Rules Award winner. But I won't go any further for that, Coach. That's it. Just going to mention that real quickly. It's all good. But I do want to thank the Rotary Club. They do a great job, and I know there's a ton of Rotarians here. And Coach, you won't find a better Rotary Club in America. I do want to mention real quick the Small College Defensive Player of the Year award that will go in Cliff Harris's honor. If you don't know the story of Cliff Harris, nobody wanted him out of high school. Nobody. Rex Nelson's dad had to call the late Buddy Bob Benson and say, will you please give this kid a scholarship? Goes to OBU, has a really nice career at OBU. Nobody wants him coming out of college. Gil Brandt gives him a walk-on tryout for the Cowboys. He goes on to 6 Pro Bowls and 5 Super Bowls in 10 years. One of the great safeties of our time. And we're going to do a small college defensive player of the year with Division II, Division III, and NAIA. That's 500 schools that we'll choose from. We'll do 15 finalists and announce a winner, and we'll have a trophy like the Brawl Award. And just to give you an example of his selection committee, Roger Staubach, Leroy Jordan, Walt Garrison, Drew Pearson, Gene Stallings, Jackie Smith, Mel Renfro, Rayfield Wright, just to name a few. 45 Super Bowls combined, 54 Pro Bowl appearances. That's his selection committee. So I hope we can welcome Cliff next week and give him a great This Is Your Day. And it's going to be a great award. And I do want to thank Wright, Lindsay, and Jennings for sponsoring that. We'll mention them here in just a second. Next, I want to mention the Dan Hampton Award. Coach, this is something that one of your players may win this year. Dan Hampton was NFL Hall of Famer. We're going to award a Defensive Lineman of the Year, both in high school and college. Dan will be coming to speak here. He's excited about that. What a great Arkansan he was out of Jacksonville High School. And then, if that wasn't enough, I said, we got to take care of the offensive guys, Coach. We're doing the Willie Roth Offensive Lineman of the Year for both high school and college. I do want to thank Wendy's and Nan Trammell for sponsoring that. That's going to be a great award. And think about this. If they win it, it will always be known throughout their career. They won this award, from the Little Rock Touchdown Club as a high schooler. They may have been one of Coach's best players ever. But that's going to be a neat deal. And the last award we created is called the Sully Award. And anybody who knows Steve Sullivan, Coach, you were interviewed by him today, nobody calls a game like Steve Sullivan. He calls the games for UCA. And what we're going to do, we're going to give a Call of the Year award to the best college broadcaster and the best high school broadcaster. We'll take all those calls and figure out at the end of the year which is the best. I'll give you an example. Steve Sullivan's calls are the same whether it's first down of the game or the game is on the line and it's 4th and 1. To give you an example, let's hear a Sully call.
Randy, look at his chops back at the 25. They're going to punt the football. Line drive kick. Dangerous catch at the 30. Going outside 35. Has it open. 40. Cuts it across the field, midfield. 45. Weaving. 35. 30. Jesse Randy, you're the man. All the way in the end zone. Wow. Randy weaved his way through the racers and all the way to the end zone.
That's Steve Sullivan. How about that? Now, Coach, that is the college version, and this is a high school version. This is one of the greatest calls 2 years ago. The team that is losing is defending its own goal line. The other team's about to score again. Looks like the game's over with. They're down for a few minutes. The running back gets the ball, and he fumbles, and listen to this call.
Handoff goes to the left.
Oh, look at that! It could go! It could go! Go back to go! Go back to go! Oh, that's the guy! Touchdown, Matthew Showalter! Touchdown, Matthew Showalter! Touchdown, Matthew Showalter! Wow! Oh, my
How about that? I think that would be the winner this year. I think so. That's a guy who's passionate about, but that's where we're going to do the Sully Award. I think that will be some fun, and we'll do that throughout the year, and it'll be awesome. I do want to thank our sponsors real quick. First, we'll say Twin City Limo. I do want to thank them for every speaker this year, folks. They'll be picked up in a limo or a limo bus. It was a limo bus for Coach today. So that's pretty cool to pull up for Coach, any of the coaches that we have, Coach Osborne or whatever, and you're in a limo. So thank you, Twin City Limo. Metters, Adams, and Lee Insurance. They've been serving Arkansas for all your insurance needs for 104 years. Past president of the Arkansas Sports Hall of Fame, Andrew Metters. Thank you, Andrew, for your support. The Little Rock Convention and Visitor Bureau, we're proud to be the Little Rock Touchdown Club. Thank you, David Russell and Gretchen Hall. 103.7 The Buzz, Steve Johnson is our GM right there. Steve, thank you for being a sponsor. Every Monday, we will have a live broadcast of the Zone for every Touchdown Club meeting. We're excited about that and glad to have the support of my morning mates, Tommy Smith and Roger Scott, and our producer, RJ Hawk. Thank you guys for supporting the Little Rock Touchdown Club. Also, Epic Health. Mike Whitfield, Mike right behind us, Arkansas's first and only dedicated testosterone therapy clinic. I think I may need some shots today by the end of the day, Mike. But I encourage you to look at your folder that you put out there. There's free screenings in there if you want to take advantage of it. And guys, hopefully we can get you feeling better and back to your normal self by the end of the year. Also want to thank Wendy's, Nan Trammell again. They're the perfect fit for the Dan Hampton and Willie Rofe Award. And I think I've eaten more grilled chicken sandwiches than anybody in the room, so I'm really glad to have Wendy's as a sponsor. You guys do a great job with the Wendy's Heisman, and I think it's a great fit, Nan. We appreciate that. Also, I mentioned Wright, Lindsay, and Jennings Law Firm. They've been around, folks, for over 113 years. That's how long they've been here in the state of Arkansas. They're one of the most prestigious in Arkansas and in the South. Judy Henry over here to the right is only one of 3 NFL-certified agents in Arkansas, one of only 7 in the country that will sign football, baseball, coaches, any kind of representation. Their sports law division is excellent. Judy, I think it's going to be a great fit working with Cliff Harris and the Cliff Harris National Award. Thank you so much for being a sponsor. Crane Automotive, Larry Crane. Larry, it's great to have Larry back for the 3rd year. He's got dealerships in both Central and Northwest Arkansas. He employs more than 500 Arkansans. He operates 7 radio stations, and he's also a great supporter of the Arkansas Sports Hall of Fame. Larry, glad to have you back again as a sponsor. The Arkansas Democrat Gazette, of course, Wally Hall to my left, who's been a great supporter for this club for many, many years, as long as we've been around. Tabitha Cunningham. You look at the sports page for Memphis and look at it for Dallas, and you read this paper, and it blows them away. So we're really proud to have the Arkansas Democrat Gazette be a sponsor again. And last but not least, our presenting sponsor, they're here for, I think it's the 9th year, Lunsford. It's always great to have your presenting sponsor be loyal, be there no matter what. He's a tough guy. He's an Arkansan. And if you could just come up and say a few words to the president of Metropolitan Bank, Lunsford Bridges, everybody.
David, you got me ready to suit up. Are you ready for some football? It's hard to believe that it's that time. It's been a while. And it's been slow coming, but the season is here, and I couldn't be more excited. To think this is the 10th year, incredible. Time does fly when you're having fun. And for us at Metropolitan, we're extremely proud to have the opportunity to be a lead sponsor again. We love it. And thinking about the things that we celebrate, it is football, and it's football from all levels, the high school, the several different levels of college ball here in Arkansas. Football is great in Arkansas. We've got a rich tradition of it, and what a great method to celebrate it through this club. And we're looking forward to all the results of the different games each week. Can't wait for Rex's little ho-hum review of each of them each week. But this is going to be an exciting year, I know. And I'm excited. I know the coach next to me is very excited about the season coming. Coach Bielema, we appreciate you coming to Arkansas, and we appreciate you being in Little Rock today, and go Hogs.
Thanks, Lunsford. Really appreciate that. You want to mention also, we have a photographer, Dwayne Duncan, that will be posting all the pictures. Dwayne does a great job for us. We appreciate him. Thank you, Dwayne. And you'll see him with the camera somewhere. He'll snap your picture when you're not looking. Matt Johnson is doing our live streaming, and we'll be doing all our video work. We appreciate him. Our check-in girls. Now, Coach, there's no question we have recruited the best check-in girls of any touchdown club in America. Where are they at? They've been doing this. They do it 15 weeks every year. Stand up, girls. Let's give a round of applause for them. They take a lot of grief sometimes. Sometimes the things don't go good. And 2 years ago, Coach, I promised them massages. And I still have not given them. But I will let you know today, girls, I talked to the owner of Ava Bella Spa last night. And you are covered for massages, pedicures, and manicures when you're ready. So there you go. Let's give them a round of applause again. There we go. Finally. Took me 2 years to get it done. As Lunsford said a minute ago, one of our great things, Coach, is we have Rex Nelson come up and give a weekend recap for all of college sports and colleges in Arkansas and across the nation. He does a great job, and he's an important guy. He's connected, and lo and behold, he said, David, we don't have any games to recap this week, but amazingly, I got a letter from President Gee. Now, President Gee, if you remember, was the former Ohio State president who fortunately stepped down. And I can imagine what he has sent you, Rex, but I know it wasn't very complimentary. He was sort of a jerk to Coach Bielema, and I didn't like it very much. So would you come up and share with this letter that you have?
Thank you. Thank you, David. Thank you for being here for this first meeting of the Touchdown Club. Before I read Dr. Gee's letter, what a great group of speakers this year. David, you have outdone yourself. He has done a great job since the inception of this club. Coach Bielema, in case he hasn't mentioned it to you, he used to play for the Razorbacks. I didn't know if you knew that or not. So, David doesn't mention that very often, so just wanted to get that out. But what a great group of programs. Like you said, we've even got a HDN coming in from the 662 area code. That meeting's going to be special. You're going to want to be here. How many of you were here a few years ago when Coach Bielema's predecessor attended the Little Rock Touchdown Club for the first time? I know some of you probably were. Do you remember that OHDN had a few tips for him? And this was the pose that Coach Petrino struck the entire time I was making that presentation. Now, Jeff Long told me you have a sense of humor, Coach, so somebody told me when I was leaving that day, more than one person told me when I was leaving that day, I think you made Coach Petrino mad. I said, really? Wow. But we've got a great group of programs. As David went through those, one of the ones he did not mention, but on a date still to be announced, we are bringing in the Heisman Trophy winner, Johnny Manziel, who will sign autographs for $200 each. So, did want you to know that that'll be coming soon. Indeed, I do bring you, Coach, a letter. I know you've been waiting for this apology from that bow tie wearing dweeb, Gordon Gee. First of all, as a love offering, Coach, he sent to me, I noticed you didn't have a tie on today. This is brand new, you see. A bow tie from Gordon Gee. So I just wanted you to have that to wear later in the season. Maybe you can wear that for one of the games. All right, here we go. Now don't get mad at me. This is not me talking. This is Gordon Gee I'm reading from here. A message from the former president of Ohio State University. Well, Coach Bielema, or Bielema, or whatever the heck your name is, my bow tie is wilted. I never knew that when I took you on, it would cost me my job as president of the Ohio State University. Do you hate that as much as I do? I said it was a blessing for Wisconsin that you were leaving. Well, it turns out the blessing was for Arkansas. They seem to love you there in Arkansas. They love your fiery tweets that you send out. They love the way you talk. They love the way you walk. They love your jokes. They love your wife. They love everything about you, Coach. What's an erudite man of knowledge like me to do other than to say, I really didn't mean it. You were in good company though, Coach. In that same meeting last December, when I talked about you, I also insulted the entire Southeastern Conference, the city of Louisville, and even every Catholic in the world. You know how many that is? Just think, Coach, you and the Pope are right there together as targets of mine. That's not bad for an old pig farmer from Illinois, huh? Be up there with the Pope. You might remember I said those fathers at Notre Dame are holy on Sunday and holy hell the rest of the week. I said you can't trust those Catholics on a Thursday or a Friday. Well, I forgot just how many Catholics there are here in Ohio. In Ohio, you call a couple who has 8 children Catholic. You don't have nearly as many Catholics in Arkansas, Coach, so remember, in Arkansas, you call a couple with 8 children careless Baptist. I also said the Big Ten Network is worth more money than God. I didn't mean that either. God has informed me that that would be the new SEC network. Just one piece of advice today, Coach. Don't tell the Little Rock Touchdown Club that you are proud to be here representing the state of Alabama. That other guy, John L. Smile, or whatever his name was, made national news before this club last year for all the wrong reasons. By the way, as you know, Coach, I was quoted as saying that Barry Alvarez thought you were a thug. That tape didn't pick me up correctly, though, Coach. What I said was that Barry Alvarez thought your wife is as cute as a bug. Bug, not thug. I want to clear that up. But I did mean it, Coach, when I said you left Wisconsin just ahead of the sheriff. And Coach Bielema, time has run out for you today here in Little Rock. I would like to introduce you to somebody, if you'll step up, if you don't mind. I want to introduce you to the real Pulaski County Sheriff, Doc Holliday. That's really his name, Coach. You're in Arkansas. Sheriff Doc Holliday, come up and take this man away.
Coach Bielema, I understand that you alleged to have left Wisconsin one step ahead of the sheriff. Well, you can run, but you can't hide. And usually when somebody runs from the law, they exchange their uniform of the day for our uniform. But I have the authority to release you on your own recognizance if you pledge to take the young men who've been entrusted to your care and ensure that they understand the privilege of attending the university and that they are successes not only in the classroom but on the football field as well. That you would inspire them to be men of character and integrity and prepare themselves to be great husbands and great fathers someday, but that they always will be ambassadors for the state of Arkansas and the University of Arkansas. And if you pledge to do those things, then I'm going to consider you worthy of a second chance.
All right, before we introduce Coach, one other item I was going to, Rex made a good point. All those speakers, I do want to mention, Coach Bielema does not charge to come and speak. The other speakers do, and some of them are pretty expensive. So I encourage you to go to lrtouchdown.com. You can do it on your phone, you can do it on your computer, and join the club and support the club, even if you can't be there. But Coach, I do want to thank you for doing this, continue with the tradition of having the coach come in. I do want to introduce the group, that your party that came in with you, a guy that I've worked with for several years now. He's great to work with. Zach Higby, the Assistant Athletic Director for Media Relations. Just stand when I call you guys' names. The recently named Executive Director of the Razorback Foundation, Sean Rochelle, one of our Arkansas boys. What's that?
Former Bo Weevil quarterback.
Bo Weevil quarterback, exactly right. Mark Tarasani, Director of Football Operations. Chris Hauser, Director of Recruiting. Cody Moore, Assistant Recruiting Coordinator. Matt Engelbert, Director of Football Video, and the new Assistant Athletic Director for Development, Kel Gober. Let's give these guys a round of applause, please. Normally Jim Rasco introduces our guests. He always does a great job, and Jim, glad to have you doing that every year. But everybody knows pretty much everything about Coach Bielema. So let me just say this before he comes up here, is that I talked to Hayden Fry not too long ago. Hayden Fry is on the selection committee of the Brawls Award. And I was telling him and asking him about Coach Bielema. And Coach, he was super proud of you and the man you've become and the coach you've become. And you talk about a class act. Hayden Fry, I know, Coach, you've reflected that you got a lot of who you are from him. So I thought, what a compliment to be endorsed by that guy. And I think today is an example, Coach, of what you've been able to do, come into a situation that wasn't the easiest, maybe a football team that was fragile with its personality, and re-energized it with confidence, re-energized a football fan base with confidence. Nobody in the country has been to more speaking engagements than you have. And so, as a guy who does a lot of that, I want to commend you for going the extra mile to get the Razorback faithful back on your side and back in the right corner. And ladies and gentlemen, we always do it. We want to give a great Little Rock Touchdown Club welcome to the head coach of the University of Arkansas, Bret Bielema.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And you think I speak fast?
I'm fast.
Thank God you do. We'd be here an hour.
That's right.
Let alone 28 minutes. That was awesome. I didn't know quite what I was getting into today, but now I know. So it might take me a year or two to come back. No, I do have a good sense of humor, and it's absolutely awesome. How's Little Rock doing? You know, it kind of dawned on me. I was flying over here this morning. We had meetings start this morning at 8:30. I met with our punt team, or with our shield actually, working on the introduction to Louisiana Lafayette, and then I ducked out. We had meetings in the morning. We have practice that starts at 2:20, so I don't mean to seem rude or insensitive. When I'm done, I'm skating out of here, and we're hopping on a plane and heading back to Fayetteville. But I've probably been to Little Rock no less than 15 times, I think, since I've been here. I have never driven to Little Rock. I have only flown here, and I realize how spoiled I am because the first time I'm going to drive here is when we come to play here in 3 weeks. So looking forward to that. Walked through War Memorial this morning. That's why I brought my crew over with me here. My video director is all excited. He thinks he's got all the right angles and views. Brought our recruiting staff with us because it is considered a home game for us. So we can have a number of recruits here. Judging by the guys that I have on my team from Little Rock, I'll get into in a minute. I'm going to want more and more from Little Rock because they're absolutely kicking butt over there in our facilities and doing everything we ask them to do. But the thing that I'm excited about is coming into Arkansas. When I decided to take the job, my wife and I thought about a lot of different things. Did a lot of things that we had to kind of get right in our own mind for us as a couple starting off. But the one thing that I can say 100% before we even play one down is the trip to Arkansas. Everywhere I've been in the state of Arkansas is everything that I could ever imagine times 1,000. It's just absolutely unbelievable everywhere I've been. We've been with Sean Rochelle. I think we went to 22 different Razorback clubs. I think I've spoke over 65 times now since February. My jokes have run out. My wit has run down. Now I'm just going to coach football. So this is actually my last event that I'll speak at. During our bye week, I'm going to do a touchdown club in a neighboring state just because I like to get in there for recruiting. But otherwise, my speaking hat is going to be reserved for 120 young men in Fayetteville from this point forward. So hope you can appreciate that. Just a little bit about what's been going on. We actually moved into our new facility when we started camp up on beginning of August, on August 4th. We did a neat thing the last week of the summer. We, during the spring, after the spring game got done, had a couple weeks of school, and then our kids jumped into an 8-week training program. Ben Herbert and his weight staff has done a tremendous job with our players, remolded some bodies. We've had guys put on 20 pounds. We've had guys lose 20 pounds. He's done an unbelievable job with our he hasn't done anything for the head coach. I've just put on a lot of weight that I don't need. But our players have been doing a really, really good job. But what was neat, the last basically the last Friday before we sent them home for about a 10-day break before they came back, we had our first team meeting in our new facility. We walked into a $50 million new facility in the football offices that have a training room, a locker room, an equipment room, just a building that in itself is truly incredible. But we brought our players into the meeting, had a team meeting, and then they walked into their locker room, and to see 18 to 22-year-old young men react the way they did, started off by a couple of them, the smaller ones, can actually lay down in their lockers because they're so big. Some of the linemen can't imagine that their butts can actually fit in one of their lockers, but we supposedly have the largest lockers in all of football, not just in college ranks, but also in the NFL. It was kind of fun to see a couple former Hogs come through there in the NFL, and they made reference to it's too bad that they graduated because they got downgraded when they went to the NFL in the locker room to what we walk into now. But what's neat about that event is we had about 25 of the top recruits on our recruiting board come through that weekend, and it was absolutely awesome for our players to react genuine to those facilities and to see the kids then react to that. And that's when we kind of went on a nice little run in the recruiting world. So very, very exciting time to move into that building now. We started up camp. We're 2 weeks and 3 days into it. We'll finish up this afternoon. We have a practice that's almost half the practice is devoted now to Louisiana Lafayette. Offense, defense, special teams. We'll do almost the same thing tomorrow. Friday we'll go into a mock game situation, and if all goes well there, I'll let them have their feet back under them on Saturday, and Sunday we'll start up game week. And I can tell you, there is no other head coach in the country that's more excited for game week to get here. You know, when I came in December, I basically told that group of men that were in that room before, this was in December, this is before we added any recruits to that room. I said, no one in the world of college football has been what you've been through. You weren't talked about. No one could describe that to you on your recruiting visit. No one talked to you about it during the recruiting process. No one dreamed of it on signing day. But you lived it. You now can champion that moment. That year may have not been the most fun. And as bad as it hurt for players, sometimes I know fans take it even harder. I know people that have given not just their time and their education and carried that diploma that means everything. A lot of you in this room have given a lot of money to the university and want things to be great. And I can assure you this, if there's another team in the country that is more eager and more excited to prove to you guys what we've built, I would like to know who it is. Because they are genuinely, since the time I walked in there, the most engaged group I could ever ask for. There's a lot of talent in that room that hasn't been displayed. We've created some guys that maybe weren't ever really players in the past that have now all of a sudden become really, really good players. I'm excited to see them go against competition. One of the first indicators that I really knew we had a chance to be good is when I came in December, we talked about some things, and then when we came back in January, we said we're not going to talk about the past, all we're going to do is concentrate on the future. And I didn't hear one kid talk about anything about the way it used to be done. There wasn't any mention of how we used to do it. It's all about what you want, Coach. One of the things I asked them to do is go to class, be on time, give community service, do all the things that have nothing to do with football. We finished the spring semester with the highest semester GPA that they've tracked since Jeff Long's been there in the last 7 years. In the months of June and July, when we go into summer school, I can tell you this. I've been a head coach at obviously another institution, been an assistant coach throughout. Summer is one of the most challenging times because as coaches, you can't be around the kids. We can't work with them on a daily basis. The NCAA rules don't allow us to do that. They're in summer school, they're engaged in summer school, and when you're not visiting with a coach every day, for instance, in spring and fall camp, by 2 o'clock every day, I know whether a kid missed class or went to class. You don't think that's a powerful tool? You walk up to young Johnny, hey, where were you in your 9 o'clock math class? A couple of those freshmen, their jaw just drops. But we have class checkers down. During the summer, we can't really keep them that tight a ship, and I was very, very nervous about this group because they began to understand and learn a little bit of discipline. Lo and behold, we went through the entire month, the entire 2 semesters, June and July. We didn't have one kid fail a class. Not one kid. And you know, the funny thing about, I'm not saying they all got A's, all right? But to not fail is a big, big deal. Baby steps, baby steps, baby steps. But just to see, and then last night, they've been grinding. I mean, I love to grind. I mean, it's just one of those things I appreciate. The game of football is very, very difficult. A lot of times, games are won because people give up. They give up mentally or physically. They just decide hey, this is too tough. I'm going to quit. So I like to grind people. I like to grind in a way that I don't think these guys were really used to, but that's okay. That's where we had to get to. And it was neat. Last night I decided that they thought they were coming over and they were going to get scouting reports last night, and I surprised them by taking them to a movie. It's amazing how much power a bag of popcorn and a slushie in a movie will do in place of a 2-hour team meeting. Those kids were excited. They hopped on a bus, went out to the movie theater, saw a movie that I didn't think was too great, but they seemed to enjoy it. And what's really cool for me is, when I walked into that room in December and January, I didn't know I didn't have the good fortune of being in their homes. I didn't have the good fortune of meeting their high school coaches. I didn't have the blessing of getting to know the trials and tribulations that they had been raised through. I didn't have the blessing of finding out what made them the man they are today. But over the course of time, over the last 6 months, I've gotten some really good chances to see that. Met a lot of quality parents. Meet a mom and dad where all of a sudden you realize why the kid is what he is. And it's been cool to see that happen. I was popping out to go to the movie theater, and the movie theater's out by my house, so I drove my car out, and I bought myself a Jeep. My wife, I said, it's really bad. The newest thing about being married is you got to ask permission to buy something. It's a hell of a deal. I didn't know that going into it. I thought I could just keep doing what I was doing. But I was my last place. They'd struck a deal with a Chevy agency, and they had given me a deal, and they'd let me drive a Chevy Corvette. And I grew up on a farm, and I never thought I'd be driving a Corvette and a little convertible. I had some fun with it. So when we got to Fayetteville, my wife said, "Baby, are you gonna drive a Corvette, or what?" I'm like, "I don't think this is a Corvette town. But I do think this is a Jeep town."
Good move.
So I found a Jeep. It's all nice and got some red leather seats. Kind of looks a little. You're not gonna like it because it's gray. I know a lot of people don't like the gray color, but it does look real good on a Jeep. I'll share that with you. But I come outside and I got Robert Thomas sitting in one seat, and I got Byron Jones sitting in another, and Jay Lake sitting there, and they're just hanging on my Jeep taking a picture. I'm like, well, let's use it. Get in there. I'll drive. So I have 5 extremely low. I'm not a small man by any measure either. We have 3 in the back seat and Robert Thomas hops in the front. And I can tell you, from the time we left our parking lot to the time we arrived at the movie theater, it was nonstop humor, laughter, and nothing to do about football. It was about life. Asked me a couple questions. They wanted to see what I had on my radio and all that jazz. But what's really fun for me is now I know this team. I know when they need a day off. I know when they need a kick in the butt. I know what they need. But the one thing I don't know is what's going to happen on game day, because you can never simulate game day. I've tried to make it as hard and as difficult as I can. But I don't know until that game hits. I have a great indication. But it's going to be a great learning day for me next Saturday as well. And then to have a chance to come over here. I can tell you this. I'm just going to give you a couple highlights of some guys, and I'll give a chance to open up for questions. The guys that I think are going to lead us are our seniors. When I first had that meeting in December, I did a thing at the end where I asked all seniors to stay. And 20 seniors came down in the front and sat down. So when everybody else left, I sat down with those 20 seniors and I said, I didn't come here to be great in 3 years. I didn't come here to be great 5 years down the road. I came to be here great as fast as we possibly can, and you hold the key. Of those 20 seniors, 18 of them are still there. I lost a couple that needed to happen and move along, and the group of seniors that we got are very, very dedicated to, I think, restoring a lot of pride in Arkansas. I think on offense, it all starts in the middle. Coach Fry taught me you build from the inside out in the football program. My center, Travis Swanson, is an incredible football player. My last 2 centers at the University of Wisconsin, both of them were juniors, left early. One went in the first round, one went in the second round. In my opinion, Travis Swanson is an incredibly more talented than those 2 players. I mean, he's exceptional. Behind him, after you go through the quarterback who's at a nice camp, we have a senior in Kiro Small. If you think about this, Kiro Small last year was going to senior year with high expectations. He had an injury that derailed his senior season, but could have been the greatest blessing in his life because now he's in an offense that believes in the fullback. And he's an angry little man who plays fullback very, very well. He is everything that I could ever ask for in a football player, but everything I could ever ask for in a man. He's from Baltimore, went to junior college, battled and persevered. He's went from like 270 down to 250, just incredibly strong, and very, very excited about him. On the defense side of the ball, we got two defensive tackles who are survivors, Robert Thomas and Byron Jones. You know, both just kids that they just love football. They're good human beings. Robert Thomas, you know, Robert was via junior college from Junk City. He went to junior college, came in. He's already graduated. Here's a junior college kid that's already graduated, had to get it done in the spring. And he'll tell you in the first 5 minutes that he's already graduated if you ever talk to him, because he's very proud of it, and he should be. But those two guys, I think, are exceptional. Chris Smith on the end, Trey Flowers, I think we're going to be very good. In the back end, Eric Bennett, I think is exceptional. But the guy that's kind of brought it all together on defense is a guy by the name of Jarrett Lake. Some of you may or may not know the name. Hasn't played all that much. But Jay Lake, if I could grab one guy right now and steal his DNA and put it in everything, he is a guy that has put on 15, 20 pounds. He's engaged in everything we ask him to do. He's just thrown himself into the arms of what we're trying to get across. And it's fun to see that stuff happen. Some of the freshmen, just to avoid a question before it happens, some of the freshmen and newcomers have just been absolutely outstanding on offense. We'll probably play these players. We'll start, not start, but on the offensive line, both tackles, Denver Kirkland and Dan Skipper, will play for us as true freshmen. Denver Kirkland is probably one of the most gifted pass pro. They did a lot of pass pro in high school. And the great thing is, you know, he's a mere 6'8", 358 his first day on campus. He's a real little guy. Dan Skipper was 6'10", 308. So he's got a couple more inches on him. He's got room to grow. But both those guys are going to play for us. And then right next to them at certain times, I saw Coach Kelly in here earlier from Pulaski Academy, Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry is not just going to be a good player, he's going to be a great player. And for those of you that know the family, you know why. I mean, he came to us about as ready as any person could, going through Pulaski, and then obviously being raised in the home he was raised in. He just jumped right. He's like a natural in everything he's done. Just incredible and very, very gifted. It was funny. He was in the first scrimmage last Saturday, and we hadn't talked about replay, so I had this coaching moment come up where Hunter was on the far sideline. It was about an 18-yard pass for a first down, and it was kind of near the bottom, you know, of whether he caught it or not. And he jumped up and held the ball, and all the offensive guys are yelling and screaming, he caught it, he caught it. Defensive guys are yelling, he dropped it, he dropped it. And Hunter's acting like he caught it, you know. Hunter comes walking. I go, Hunter, your father is a preacher. Did you catch that ball? No, Coach, I didn't catch it. Honest story. I knew how to ask the question. But just excited about him. At the wide receiver, Drew Morgan will play for us as well. And then our quarterbacks, Austin Allen right now is our plan to put him as a number 3 quarterback, and we'll kind of work him through the system. If we can redshirt him, we will, but kind of a work in progress there. Doo-Wop, David Mitchell, the other quarterback, we may work a package for him that's kind of in transition, kind of thinking that out right now. And then at tailback, Alex Collins is everything that we should ask for. He is, mother and I have reconsidered, and everybody's all on the same page, and it's going to be a happy situation. He's been absolutely awesome since coming there. On the defensive side of the football, we'll probably play 2 freshmen for sure. Brooks Ellis, who's from Fayetteville, is a very, very gifted linebacker, very, very good player. Very similar to Hunter. He's just incredibly gifted in so many ways beyond football. Just a great kid. Granddad played there. And then a surprise for us, DJ Dean, who is from Newton, Texas, a guy that we actually had come in late to the recruiting scene. We stole him from Utah. He was going to Utah from Newton, Texas. We said, Arkansas is a heck of a lot closer. Why don't you come here? And he has been everything that we could ask for. Very excited about him. And then also a newcomer on defense, native to the area here from North Little Rock. Coach Boulding in the back, but his son Brad told me when I signed Martrell Spade, he said, Bret, I know you're getting a good player. You can see that on film, but you're getting an incredible human being. And Martrell has been unbelievable since coming in. He couldn't come in until the summer through finishing his junior college work, and he has kind of raised the intensity level in our practices. He is probably one of the strongest individuals from his knee to his chest in this core, which allows you to hit and strike people very aggressively. So one of our kids named the term when he's knocked a couple people out. We've had an increase in concussions since Mr. Spate came to town, and led to one shoulder surgery, and very aggressive. We're thinking about putting a green shirt on him so he doesn't hit anybody. But the term now has been thrown out that you've been spaded when he hits you, and it's catching on. Hopefully it catches on in the SEC is what I'm hoping. But he's going to help us in the back end, and very excited about this group, and probably one area that gets overlooked that should excite everybody in this room. Zach Cocker, I know last year was a little bit of a up and down for him, but I know he had a great sophomore year. When I got there, Charlie Partridge and I were blown away with his leg strength. I know in the past they kind of jacked around with him on who was holding on field goals, PAT. I said to him, because he was very uncomfortable with it, I said, here's the deal, why don't you pick who it is? And he looked at me like I had three heads. And I said, well, don't pick, the 6'5", 320-pound right tackle to be your holder. I don't want that. But pick anybody you want. He picked him, and he's been, last Saturday in the scrimmage, he had a 59-yard field goal that went through by 10 yards easy. And about 10 minutes after that, he hit a 68-yard punt in the air. So we feel really good about our kicking game. He kicked off the other day. I was standing next to two NFL scouts. We were working kick cover, and he put the first two kicks in the first row of the end zone. So hopefully we're not going to do anything to screw that one up. We're going to rest him as often as we can. And kind of an entertaining thing, our backup punter is from Melbourne, Australia. So if you come over and you're meeting a couple of our guys and some guy starts talking to you like he's completely whacked out with his foreign accent, that's him. You found him, Sam Irwin Hill. And he's got a real live leg. The neat thing about him is he can punt the ball both right and left footed. So he's an ambidextrous punter. It's very neat. I know Wes is back there. Is your dad here? Yep. Buddy met him the other day. I think he was a little taken back when you see this accent coming at you. Didn't know exactly what was happening. You don't expect this Melbourne, Australia accent to come on the practice field. But it's kind of fun to be around these guys. Very, very excited about where they're going. And as we get closer and closer to game day, I'm sure everybody's going to have more and more questions, but I can assure you this, they're excited, they're ready. We got about 8 more practices to get in, and they're going to approach it in all the right way. So with that, I'll open it up about 5 minutes with some easy questions. I was happy to see there was no bar in the back, so usually that means the questions are reasonable. I'm not going to throw any stones, but yes. Question is, Drew Morgan be playing any defense? He won't. He's having enough time with the offensive playbook right now, so he'll be playing a little bit of wide out. We may use him in a kicking game as a returner just because he catches the ball extremely well. But other than that, no, he won't be playing defense. Now, I do think some point down the road, he's got incredible ball skills. That could be something that pops up. Yes?
How has Bill Snyder influenced you? And can you draw any comparisons to when he took over K-State? He saw himself as Geppetto, built the no field, and what you're dealing with now?
I don't know where that last part. But the question is, can I relate to Coach Snyder? I've been very blessed as my assistant career. First guy I ever played for and worked for was Hayden Fry. A lot of you know that. I took from Hayden Fry. He was an incredibly good motivator. He motivated me all the time. I worked for him as a GA, then worked for him as assistant coach. I realized how great he was at organizing people and letting them play to their strengths. After Hayden Fry left, I worked for a guy by the name of Kirk Ferentz, who became the head coach at Iowa and won a lot of championships there. I know they've had a rough road here the last couple of years, but another really, really good coach. Then I went to work for Bill Snyder, and it was like anything else I've never done before. First, Manhattan, Kansas. For those of you that have been there, it's a little bit different, but good in a lot of ways. And I went to work for Coach Snyder, and the one thing I've always said about Coach Snyder is he really believes in the philosophy that leaves no stone unturned and then turn it over again, because he is meticulous, detailed guy. Wouldn't be in the position I'm in today without going through his system. I do not think that I should go to Manhattan, Kansas anytime soon, because we took Martrell Spate from them about 2 days before signing date, and then I did a really wise thing, but I also called and took one of his coaches to bring him here as a wide receiver coach. And then about 2 months after that, I took his academic person as well to come and head up our academics. So I'm going to have someone start my car in Manhattan if we go back there. Those people are angry there.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Coach, I know your previous stop, your fan base and fan participation during the games was very good. Talk about maybe what kind of expectations you have for the Razorback fan base, both up in Fayetteville and Little Rock, what you expect during the game.
Absolutely. I haven't seen it. Haven't seen it yet. I've had a lot of feedback. One of the things that we have tried to do and talks with administration, if there's anything we can do to kind of jazz up the crowd. I know they're very passionate everywhere I've gone. I've been saying it's Razorback Red Bull. Everybody drinks it all day. Nobody's drinking coffee around this place. They're slamming Razorback Red Bull left and right. But one of the things that we kind of asked and did some studies, we brought in some outside sources. I think you'll see a few new things. I mean, obviously we're still going to run through the A and do all the things that make Arkansas great, but we're going to have some things interact with the crowd. I understand that this one was brought up to several of my friends that I've become close to now, that they said, Coach, we have this thing. I know it was referenced earlier. Some people don't believe in the internet in the room apparently, but it's really handy. It gives you weather reports whenever you want them. So hopefully we're going to get rid of the weather report in the middle of the third quarter, and we're going to try and live everybody up for the rest of the game. So there might be some changes. One of the things that I think is going to be nice is, there's a lot of history and a lot of tradition with Arkansas, but I think as you get into it, one of the things that was really cool for me, I grew up on a hog farm, so I understand what the trough is. And the trough is where our student section is, and we're going to try to really make an appeal to them as players, to their peers. Those are the people they're going to class with. I want to make them understand, celebrate, the commonality they have with the students in the crowd. So a lot of little different things. A lot of people ask about the uniforms. At home, we're going to be wearing red jerseys, white pants, red helmets. We'll be in black socks, black shoes, black accessories. On the road, we're going to be in all white. We'll have white pants, white jerseys, white helmets. The helmets have now added a darker hog, so you can kind of see the hog. So you're clapping now. We'll see if we lose a game or two. But very excited about the traditions, witnessing myself and going forward. So one more easy one. If not, we'll get out of here. Right? Yes, that was quick hand.
Do you have any pregame quirks that you do?
Do I have any pregame? Yeah, but they aren't going public. Only my wife knows those. Nothing like that. I mean, we're staying PG here. We got one thing that I watched Coach Fry. Coach Fry was like extremely superstitious, and I got into the coaching world, and I was like, that is so silly to be superstitious, And then lo and behold, we were playing. I remember this like it was yesterday. We went to Tulsa, and I'd been wearing a jacket as a warm up to every game, and we were going to the Tulsa game. We were at Tulsa, and it was like whatever, 120 degrees or whatever. And our trainers were like, Coach, you can't wear that jacket. I'm like, why not? And they're like, and I was 23, 24. I was in shape. They're like, no, take it off. So I took it off. Coach Fry told me to take it off. We lost the game. So I was convinced that as a GA, I affected the outcome of the game because I didn't have a hot jacket on. So that's the only thing. I'll be wearing a jacket. That's about the only one you'll really see. But thank you very, very much for today. I appreciate it all.
Bret Bielema, everybody. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next week at the Embassy Suites. Let Coach get out of here, everybody. He's got to get back to Fayetteville. Thank y'all for being here.
Hey,